Do you ever get those moments where something happens that just makes you stop completely what it is you're doing? Yeah. Like completely makes you stop in your tracks, like changes the course of your day. So like maybe a trailer of a highly anticipated film's been announced, or news flash that Trump has been axed from office, or I don't know, Victor Tanzig has released Stories of Sodor season 4 part 2. Yep. That was not subtle. That was not subtle in any way. But yes, I am doing a reaction on a Saturday. And for a very simple reason. So, as I said, Victor Tanzig is back with Stories of Sodor. Yeah, he released it yesterday, but I had like family coming around. I had a very busy day at work. I was originally going to do a reaction yesterday, but just didn't really feel up to it. So, so now I'm feeling a bit more a bit chipper. Also, house is a bit quieter. So yeah, I'm really interested to see where this is going, because Stories of Sodor is goated in terms of Thomas series. If you don't know what it is, it's basically it gives the Thomas characters and like the Thomas lore and more and stuff the feel of its sister show Tugs, which, you know, it's a bit more mature, much more grounded. The storylines are more adult, and it's absolutely masterfully done in terms of like storytelling and characterization, and also just because the thing is, he uses Train Simulator, which a lot of Thomas users use. That repetition there, bloody hell. Users use. But a lot of people use Train Simulator, but he kind of creates his own camera work style with it, at least. So he's creating something unique. He's creating something, and also just really powerful, like in terms of like messages it come across, and just as a series. Honestly, I don't feel like I'm watching a Thomas series. I feel like I'm watching like West Wing or Avatar: The Last Airbender or something. One of those kind of compelling series in terms of storytelling that just have everything just kind of click. And but no, part 2 is back. He's back with part 2 of season 4. So basically he split season 4 into 2 parts, which I think it was because of writer's block. And part 1 was last year. So so yeah, literally like over a year ago, like the last episode of season 4 part 1. So it's so good to have him back. And by the way, yes, I've beaten Joe Scout K9 to reacting to this. So this is a big middle finger to him, and a big welcome back to Victor. Not actually a middle finger to Joe Scout. I love the guy.
The train,
you see, even
for
has
its
the Tugs
type,
theme,
is the most powerful vehicle on land.
And the words as well.
And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway.
So good.
These are the stories of Sodor.
Music to my ears. I'm sorry, the theme is just so good for Tugged, and it's just so fitting. Just... Animosity. Let's go! Oh.
By the start of the 1960s, it became apparent oil was the future fuel source of Britain. More and more it was being imported to supply the nation's industries, its ever-growing number of motorists, and the ongoing dieselisation of the railways. Many projects were commissioned to build the infrastructure necessary to cope with this demand, one of which came to Sodor. On the northwestern tip of the island, at the seaside town of Waterton, a large storage facility was planned. Oil would be delivered to the site by ship and then taken to the mainland by rail. This was extremely welcome news, as the local communities had wanted rail access for years. So, in exchange for not objecting to the project, British Railways amended it. What was originally meant to be an industrial line evolved into a full-fledged branch. We were rather excited by this turn of events, especially after finding out which engines
Terrence.
would help build and run it. Well, break out the crayons and colour me tickled pink. I never would
Is that a Sodor Shorts reference? I'm pretty sure that is.
have expected to see you lads here. Indeed. Welcome back, Duck. And Oliver, it's wonderful to see you again. The feeling's mutual, Edward. Did I ever thank you for the rescue in Germany? Many times, though not half as many as Toad. I have expected to see him trailing behind you. He was near back on our old branch. Ugh. What's wrong? Our branch has been overrun by diesels, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. They're completely useless. If I had a ton of coal every time one of those greasy spam cans failed... Aye, we've had a few here over the past couple of years. The results have been mixed, to say the least. Any of them non-faceless? Yes. Why? We've had a few of those. Like Oliver said, they're completely useless and broke down on the regular. And whenever we came to their rescue, they always gave us attitude. No thanks, no appreciation. Sometimes they even had the gall to mock us. It's clear diesels are built devious and ungrateful. Can't say I'm surprised. We had plenty of warning. I assume you're talking about Bruce. You know his name? Turns out it was only we Norrises who didn't know. He also told us about how you two met and everything that happened on the Hauzoen branch. And you believe him? After everything he put you through during the days of the Big Four? That was a long time ago, old boy. He's a different engine now. Beg pardon, Edward, but you'll understand if I'm skeptical. Unfortunately, I do understand. I just hope you'll get the chance to see for yourself. But for now, we need to focus on the current situation. Did you see Sodor when you arrived? Yes, he said there'd be a works train here for us to collect and where to take it on to... Where was it, Duck? Tidmouth. Apparently our new branch is starting off from there. He also said we'd be getting some help? From the Farquhar chaps, yes. They'll be rotating...
So this is the implementation of the Augsburg branch, I'm supposing. I'm guessing.
2 at a time. Well, sounds like we've got a lot to do. Aye, so stop gossiping in the sun when there's work to be done. Oh, how I've missed this place.
That's a line from Escape, by the way. I'd probably say that's my favourite episode, Escape. I can't whistle. I really can't whistle. Ha! Screw you, George. Oh. Ah. God's sake. Oliver owns up. Or resources are gas.
Are you alright, Oliver? More embarrassed than hurt, sir. I made it through the entire war without a scratch, only to fall into a flipping turntable well, which begs the obvious question of how this happened. It was my fault, Sir Topham. I bumped the controls. Well, thanks a lot, Morty, you dopey twat. That will do, Oliver. Maurice will be investigated and disciplined accordingly. I'm sorry, sir. I just hate paying for someone else's mistakes. That's how I ended up stranded behind enemy lines. And thanks to him, I must look like a load of scrap iron. Ho, ho. Oh, I don't think so. But you do need to...
I love the not so subtle implementation of lines from episodes of the show or the Railway series. It's just as like a Thomas nerd, someone who's followed the series for a very long time. It's just I just find it very funny.
Go to the works to be mended. Sorry to leave you short-handed, sir. Don't worry, I've been able to make other arrangements.
Oh crap.
Good morning. Oh,
G'day,
no,
Bruce.
What are you doing here? Waiting for a bus. What do you reckon? Sir Topham sent me to help. Well, if we need help throwing trucks up an engine's backside or stealing infected livestock, we'll be sure to ask you, Diesel. Or should I say Bruce? Edward said you told the others how we met, and I don't believe for a second you told them the truth. Then go ahead and ask. And when you see I was, I'll happily accept your apology. It'll be a cold day in hell before I ever apologize to you. I'm already regretting this. What?
Yeah.
Nothing. What's first? They've started digging a tunnel near Tidmouth Halt.
Terrence
Take those
with 2
trucks to the site
cameos
so
now.
they can empty the dirt into them. And don't bump them down any hillsides, please. I'll bump you down a hill if you're not careful, Ducky. Don't call me Ducky, Weasel.
That's what she
Get
said.
going. Ooh! Grrr! Fizzling fireboxes! What a brute! And to think Edward said he's a different engine now. Well, to his credit, he hasn't done anything devious since the war. The thing is, he's never apologized for anything he did before that. And when you mentioned throwing trucks up an engine's backside, oh my, beg pardon, Percy, I shouldn't have. No, it's all right, Duck. I'm not angry at you. Like I said, he's never
'cause it was
apologized.
Percy
and
that
I
it
just
happened
find that
to.
so frustrating. Why hasn't he? Probably because he doesn't think he did anything wrong. Should I bring it up with him? You can if you want. I'm not going to bother. Why not? Because even if he did apologize, what would it matter? It won't change what he's done. No, I guess it wouldn't. What should we do? I suggest we interact with him as little as possible until Oliver gets back. With any luck, he shouldn't be laid up for more than a few days. Unfortunately, luck was not on their side. Oliver's tumble exacerbated a number of underlying issues he had, forcing him to spend several
music kind of calling attention to itself, but okay.
weeks at the works, so Bruce remained on the project longer than expected. To head off any issues, the Fat Controller had a word with him and Duck, urging the pair to set aside their differences for the greater good. For a while, they coordinated their efforts and even double-headed a few trains, but as time went on, tensions grew. Snide remarks and disagreements devolved into heated arguments. It didn't help that Percy, who's
look at Toby at the side. I've always loved that. He's done that especially in his later seasons, where he just has these subtle cameos of characters going past. It's almost like the characters at the side are almost like a Greek chorus, which are just they're mimicking the emotions of the scene. I just find it so authentic that they kind of observe, oh god, what's going on here? Oh god, they're arguing.
Still harbored a lot of resentment for
That's
Bruce,
a bad example,
took Duck's side in these situations. Their animosity began to affect the project. Its supervisors did their best to keep the peace, but they couldn't be everywhere. And everywhere they weren't, there was
the
trouble.
trucks began
what
again.
will the Fat Controller say? He won't like it. And who's gonna tell him, eh? Two little goody telltales like you? Yep. What? I've never passed up a chance to tell someone about your antics.
Victor's Diesel voice is surprisingly good, because I know he's an Aussie, but it just really works. Because you think about it, like Australian, it sounds very similar to kind of Cockney, which I feel like is what he's going for with Diesel.
And don't forget, I was the one who exposed your little scheme with the Duchess. Why do you have to keep bringing that up? Because it was a rotten thing to do. I'll say, you nearly destroyed my career on my very first day. But I didn't. I got caught and paid for it. Mr. Zorro shouted at you, so it wasn't a big deal when Mr. Star told you off. That's not the point. You never apologized.
Wait, didn't Diesel get 15 days in Railgate for his actions?
For it or anything else. Why would I? It wasn't called the Great
For some
Depression
reason, I
for
remember that
nothing.
from a previous
I did what I
episode.
had to for my company's survival. Ironic considering your stunts often resulted in the LMS getting fined. Bug off, you Great Western git. Oh, so you don't want help cleaning up this mess? Fine by me. Hang on. No, I wouldn't want to intrude on your fun. That's not the Great Western way. Percy, you think only if you apologize for the Duchess and everything else? What? You can bug off too, Pipsqueak. Fine. Have fun. This is going to take me all day.
Yep.
I'm fuming, Toby. Absolutely fuming. So am I. I can't believe how childish you, Duck, and Percy are being. Hey, they started it, and you've been continuing it. What do you expect me to do? Take their abuse on the chin? I expect you to do your job without causing confusion and delay. Your cock-up today has resulted in both. There wouldn't have been a cock-up if those two hadn't distracted me, and it would have been cleared up a lot faster if they bothered to help. All right, you have a point. They should have helped, and Percy shouldn't have tried to coax an apology out of you. He should have chosen a better time to broach that topic. Yeah, like never. Never? So you don't think you owe him one? For what? Bruce, do you have any regrets? About what? About anything you did back during the days of the Big Four? I don't know. I never really stopped to think about it. Do you think your actions were justified? At the time, yeah, but looking back, I probably cost the LMS more money than I ever made for it. Then there were the times others got hurt because of me, like Percy. And you. If you're talking about the time my boiler burst, I don't blame you for it. Maybe you should. You were trying to stop Thomas from stopping me. I was a real mongrel back then, wasn't I?
Oh.
Aye, but you've come a long way since.
Yeah.
If you want to go further, why not consider apologizing for what you did? But after all these years, would it matter? It can't hurt, can it? I'll think about it. Thank you, Bruce.
Typical response.
In the meantime, do me a favor and try to get along with those two.
I think he will.
I'll
think about
try,
it,
but if they give me grief, how about I talk to them and see if they're willing to compromise? And if we're not, then you can explain to the Fat Controller why you're letting your grievances derail this project. Beg pardon, Toby. No, Duck, I will not. This is partly your fault. Bruce shows up to help and your first reaction is to snap at him? What were you hoping to accomplish?
I feel like everyone's really, really in character here. I really like I said, characterization is one of Victor's strong suit. One of this series' strong suits.
All right, that was a mistake. But if you really know what happened between us on the Hauzoen branch, you'd understand. Frankly, Duck, I'm surprised. I never thought you were the type to hold a grudge. You either, Percy. Neither did I. But doesn't it annoy you he's never apologised? Speaking personally, no. He's not the same engine anymore. Maybe if you gave him a chance, you'd see that. Why should we? Because a lot of jobs depend on the success of this project. Do you think it's fair those be put in peril because you refuse to let bygones be bygones? No, it wouldn't be fair. But I refuse to turn the other cheek if Diesel keeps slapping it. He and I have already spoken. He's willing to play nice if you two are. So how about it? All right.
He said he'd think
Duck?
about it.
Yes, fine. Thank you, lads. You won't regret this. I hope not. You're very persuasive, Toby. You must have been a lawyer in a past life. I'll take that as a compliment.
Revenant theory. What a noise.
Morning, lads. Good morning,
Audio
Diesel.
syncing,
All right there? Yeah, why? Your engine sounds a little loud, and since you're working alone... I'm working alone because you two... when you didn't show up, I decided to make a start. Sorry we're late. The points outside our shed jammed and we had to wait for them to get fixed. Oh, that's no good. Especially since the points were brand new. It's ridiculous. It's British Railways. Exactly. Did they give you grief back on the house, Owen? By oath, yes. They sacked so many people, closed multiple stations, and shut down most of the yards, including the one near the end of the line. The mongrels! That was my favourite yard. Mine too, so I was very miffed. And after they started rolling out that newfangled signalling system, I really lost my temper. Those gizmos failed almost as often as... What? As often as the modernisation plan. You're right there. That was a real cock-up. Had they started demolishing the signal boxes when you left? Yes, and I see they've made a start here. I noticed most of the ones along the main line were surrounded by scaffolding. They're hitting the branches too. I don't know if I'll ever be able to wrap my head around that. It's going to feel weird not seeing a box every few miles. What's so funny? I just thought given how stupid BR has been in the past, they'd build this branch with signal boxes and then tear them right down. That does seem like something they do. Maybe common sense has finally worked its way into the company. I won't hold my breath, Duck, even if I could. Me neither. So, anyway, what needs doing? Ooh. Those trucks need to be taken up to the station. If you could do that while I take these empties back to Tidmouth, no problem. All right, I'll get going. Thanks. You're welcome.
Oh, let's start. Bridges.
Diesel hulks about the yard, thinking he's the greatest. Bumps his also very hard, showing he's the meanest. All around he creeps about, spreading his diesel. Hear us now as we shout out, clear off you weasel. Where did you hear that? From Duck? What? You heard me. Duck taught us. He was beaming when he did.
The eye
animation. That scheming sod. I'll make him pay. Pay.
Oh, for God's sake. For God's sake. What? There's nobody... How did you think that was going to work? How could you possibly think that was going to work?
What are you doing? You scared the hell out of me. Good, because I'm going to beat it out of you too. Bruce, back up. What's this all about? The trucks just sang a rotten song about me. The very same one they had back on the House Zoan branch. They said you taught them. They're lying. They're probably paying you out for bumping them. And you said you told the others about how we met, and I swore them to secrecy about that song. Not me, you didn't. What?
Oh,
you told them? You little runt. Clear off, you weasel. All right, lads, let's calm down. Bug off, Toby. I know all about your little scheme with the fat controller. What scheme? There is no scheme. Sir Topham asked me to keep an eye on you three.
Paranoid.
Wait, so you only wanted us to get along to make the fat controller happy and to make you happy. You said you had a nice chat earlier. That was a mistake. This tosspot has been nothing but trouble since he got here. Look at this mess. The station was nearly finished and on time too. You know what, Toby? I don't regret anything I've done. I regret not doing more. Come on, Bruce, you don't mean that. If he doesn't, I do. You're a disgrace, like all diesels. Percy! And I was lying before. The signals failed almost as often as those new diesels. What makes it worse is how many of them look like you. That's it. I'm done working here. I'm sick of this job and I'm sick of these two. I'm gone. Hang about. So am I. Me too. Wait, let's talk about this. Beg pardon, Toby, but no. You can tell Sir Topham you failed. Come on, lads. Think about what you're doing. Think about bollocks.
Bollocks. That's unfortunate.
Hello, Sir Topham. Hello, Toby. You do look glum. I heard there was trouble, so I came as quickly as I could. How bad is it? Terrible, sir. The lads are refusing to work and are sulking in their sheds. I failed to keep the peace. It's all right, Toby. I have no doubt you did your best. I'll handle it from here. But first, tell me everything that happened. What's all this?
We're on strike, sir. Yes. Beg pardon, sir, but we won't work with Diesel, sir.
I can understand that. Toby told me how he attacked you. Are you all right?
Yes, sir, but I'm thinking of pressing charges.
If that's what you want, you'll have my support.
Any chance you'll send him packing, sir?
I have no choice. I was trying to help you by bringing him here. That was clearly a mistake on both our parts.
Beg pardon, sir? What do you mean, both?
I did send him over, but only because he volunteered to come.
He did?
What?
How did that happen?
I was at Brendan when I heard about Oliver. I was annoyed that the project would be down an engine. Bruce was nearby and offered to fill in.
Did he know I was here?
He did. Your history together gave me pause, but he reaffirmed his offer, saying, and I quote, "The project needs to get done, sir. It's too important to get stuffed up by ancient history." Didn't he mention that?
See?
No, sir. I wonder why.
Perhaps you should ask him, but you can do so after I've had some very stern words with him.
Choice words.
Things worked much better here before you arrived. I will not be inviting you back. Ah, what a pity. Don't you dare be facetious, Bruce. Nothing, absolutely nothing, gives you the right to assault another engine. You can be sure I'll report this to the Railway Inspectors Unit. What? But, sir, but nothing. Your repeated abuse of the trucks already warrants disciplinary action. Attacking Duck was the clincher. I am extremely disappointed in you, Bruce. I was so sure you had left your LMS tendencies in the past. You were so willing to let bygones be bygones for the sake of this project.
Which I don't understand. Did you really volunteer to come work here?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell us?
Because within a minute of me rolling up, you snap and ask what I'm doing. You clearly didn't want me here, so it wouldn't have mattered why I was.
It most certainly would have mattered. To be willing to work alongside a rival for the greater good? The Diesel I knew would never have done that.
And until today, I never thought I would become that prat again. Fizzling fuses. What have I done?
Is that him crying?
Crying?
Is that him
Yes,
crying?
Percy, I am. Not just for today, but everything. For every trick I pulled back in the day, every scheme I ever carried out, every fight I ever
He's all
picked.
crying.
I was so wrapped up in getting the job
Bloody
done, I never
hell.
asked if it was the right way to do it. Is that to say you do regret your actions, Bruce? Yes, sir. Very much. Enough to apologize for them?
Well,
Duck, Percy,
we're
I'm
waiting.
sorry. I'm sorry for all of it. I won't ask you
I'm
to
sorry.
forgive me because I don't deserve it. I just hope what I've
Okay.
done here doesn't cock up the project.
You're concerned more about the project than being forgiven.
It matters more to the island and British Railways.
Bruce, I forgive you.
You do?
What?
Yes, you're not Diesel anymore. He would have never apologized, and I'm sorry for teaching the trucks that song. It was wrong.
No, Percy. It was right. It was just a song after all. Sticks and stones, eh?
I forgive you too.
What? After everything we've been through?
Back on how Zoe and I was miffed you abused my trust. However, like you said, it wasn't called the Great Depression for nothing. You were looking out for your company. If the roles were reversed, I can't say I wouldn't have tried to exploit the situation to my advantage. That would have been the Great Western way.
Thank
Hey.
you, Duck. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Dees. I mean, Bruce. Sir Topham, I've decided I don't want to press charges.
I appreciate your willingness to turn the other cheek, Duck. However, I have to report this. I'm sorry, Bruce. It's all right, sir. I understand. Even if you did stay mum, there's no way Joey wouldn't find out. On the upside, if I'm sent to Railgate, maybe I'll run into Peter.
I'm pleased to say that while Bruce would receive the maximum penalty for his crimes, he was allowed to serve his time on Sodor. Furthermore, Sir Topham convinced the authorities to suspend his sentence as the project still needed attention and he was the only engine available. The RIU tentatively agreed.
Look, his face. Is that Jinsey? Wait, hang on. I can't tell what that is, but that face is biblical.
To this, and for the next 2 weeks, the Diesel worked his wheels off to make things right. He and the others
Yeah, wouldn't it? Because the thing is, like, the legal system couldn't, like, working it off count as community service.
made terrific progress and were able to get back on schedule. Duck would also hear the story Bruce had told us and confirmed everything he said was the truth. This fostered a great deal of trust between the pair, which allowed them to confront Scruffy to ask why he had lied about who taught him that song. Turns out both engines had biffed him on several occasions and he wanted to pay them out.
Recognizing their part in the situation, they apologized to the truck, who in turn apologized to them.
Yeah.
On that note, Bruce would make amends with every former nor'easter and anyone else he felt he had wronged. Everyone forgave him, and he would feel so much better for it. And when Oliver returned, he was shunted into the shed at Brendam to serve his time. When he came back to work, he was clearly a more enlightened engine. As for the Waterton branch, its construction remained fairly uneventful, which is more than I can say for the ambitious expansion the Skarloey Railway was gearing up for. But that is a story for another day.
Every time I hear this theme, I always think of the intro to Wild and the Wester's theme. Series, sorry. The intro to Wild and the Wester's theme. Well, what more can I say other than the man, the myth, the legend is back, and I think this just re-emphasizes why I love this series so much. Just everyone felt so in character. The writing was superb. It's such a great series, and it's so good to have him back, honestly. And like he's going to be doing it weekly, and I think he's got like 7 episodes planned. I'm not entirely sure, but he's going to finish the season certainly. And afterwards, Lord knows. But I'm sorry, I'm just a bit speechless because I've missed this series so much, and it's so great to have him back. And how many times have I said "Anne"? Bloody hell. But this is Little Lyle speaking, and I will be back with Friendship is Tragic next week. So that series is not going anywhere. I'm hoping to get that series finished first before I can get on to Stories of Sodor. But yeah, it's a series I'm looking forward to, certainly. Yes. So this is Little Lyle speaking, and I'll see you guys next time.